Yo, what's good, Guru Nation? How's it going, everybody? I'm your host, Spencer the Guru, bringing y'all a brand new Guru Nation podcast. This one will be discussing the wide receiver position. Y'all going to be breaking down the wide receiver. The receiver position is stacked this year as usual, but trying to rank them, it's challenging, honestly. It's a challenge to know which receivers to take above the others because you got your elite guys like Jets, Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb. But outside of them, it gets you got a lot of talent, but as far as determining which ones are going to be the ones that really pop off, that's going to be where the debate comes in because there's a lot of people high on some and not high on others that are all ranked in that, I'd say, 12 to 30 range. That's an interesting spot as far as receivers because it's tempting to take a bunch of those, but then you risk passing up on some running backs. We're going to get into all that here. So let's introduce our panel here, y'all. We've got our three fire analysts. We'll start it off by introducing the fella main, repping the Heart to Start podcast. Always bring in the real fantasy isms, y'all. Heart to Start, JD. What's happening, man?
Guru Nation, what's going on, man? Spence, what's going on, man? Appreciate you for letting me come on and talk my fantasy isms, man. 100%, man. Shout out to all the Guru Nation representatives, 100%.
Let's get into it here, y'all. We'll start off with 1 through 12. Our other two guests, Miles Peacock and Bogard Scott Free, will be on in just a minute. We'll kick it off here with just myself and JD to go over these rankings here, 1 through 12. I got CeeDee Lamb at 1. CD was last year's number 1 receiver. I see him repeating that, then followed by Tyreek Hill is also right up there. 1, 2. You can't miss with those two. Those are some dogs right there. Then Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm a little higher on him than the consensus. Most consensus lists have him 5th, but I see Amon-Ra doing even better this year, growing with Goff and that Lions offense that's still got Ben Johnson as the offensive coordinator. So I feel really good about Amon-Ra. And got Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. Can't go wrong with either of them. Got Jefferson a little lower, though, because of the quarterback situation there in Minnesota. No more Kirk Cousins. Then got A.J. Brown and Puka Nacua. They're very close. Give A.J. the slight edge with, Cooper Kupp's going to be back this year. So Puka should still do really well, but I don't have him quite as high as some. Then got Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson. I don't see Devontae going anywhere. And then G-Dub with Rodgers should do his thing. And then Marv Jr., y'all, Marvin Harrison. I got him as a top 10 receiver. I see him really eating this year. Yeah, bro. Kyler Murray. We all know Kyler Murray can support fantasy relevant receivers. So I see Marv having a huge rookie year. And then my boy Chris Olave at 11. I see him doing enough to sneak a WR1 finish with the new look Saints offense led by Clint Kubiak. And then 12, Nico Collins, y'all. I know Diggs is there, but I see Nico going off once again. And then shout out to Albert, man.
Yes, sir. Right off the rip, if CD holds out during training camp, does that scare you?
No, I still think CD is going to go off regardless. I think he's going to play. And if he doesn't get his bag, he's going to be even more motivated. If he gets his bag, I think he's fine regardless. If he gets his bag, he'll ball out. He'll be comfortable. He'll be ready to roll, because he's the sole focal point of that offense. They don't have any running backs over there, and their other receivers are nothing special. So I think CD might catch 130 balls this year, on everything.
Yeah. That's where he was at last year on 181 targets. So, he floating around 200 targets, 19 away from
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I may be undershooting him a little bit. Yeah, how many did he catch last year? I'm going to check myself. Yeah, 135. Yeah, I think this year he might catch 140 something, maybe even 150. I think my dog Mike Thomas had the record with my Saints. The record's 149 was the record.
I thought it was 147, yep.
Yeah, CD might break that. He might get 150.
The volume is there. I don't see none of the acquisitions, or were they? When Jerry said they were all in, we thinking that they were going to be all in. Come free agency, come the draft, come trades. And for him to have 181 targets on 135 receptions, and what they done or what they haven't done in the offseason, where do we see the drop off at? There is none.
Yeah, that's why I think he's the clear-cut WR1. Speaking of drop-offs, Tyreek Hill, some people are thinking Tyreek Hill might drop off some. He slipped all the way to 7 on Mock Draft Monday. I couldn't believe that. I don't really see much drop-off coming. I think Tyreek Hill's still that dude. But what are your thoughts, JD? Do you see a little drop-off coming for the Freak?
No, not at all, because I mean, what has changed over there, and then for him to continue what he did over there, and I don't know exactly how many games that Jalen Waddle was out, but the year before that, when Tyreek went stupid crazy, and he had Jalen Waddle there, for him to go ahead and continue what he has done the last 2 years, for Waddle to be there the whole 15, 16 games, and then for him last year to miss games and Tyreek still be the focal point and end up with 1,799 yards. Oh yeah, no. Where is the drop off at? If there was a drop off, you would think it would be in quarterback play. So they're coming back with the same quarterback, the same offensive coordinator who happens to be their coach. The offense is probably getting a little bit better now because hopefully you got A-Chain to play more games. We talked about Jalen. I forgot
Jalen Waddle. Yep.
No, the running back that they drafted.
Jalen Wright. Yeah, Jalen Wright.
Jalen Wright to go ahead and strengthen the backfield 100%, even though OBJ ain't what OBJ is, but you bring him in to play that third down role that you had Braxton Berrios to play last year, so you might get a little bit better in that, but they also drafted another wide receiver. So my point is the offense is definitely going to be explosive. The only place that they lost players at was on the defense. So for all those players that they had fantasy relevant last year, I don't see none of the offensive players in this Miami offense to drop off. So I don't see why Tyreek fell to the 7th pick, but that's a hell of a value pick in the first round. 100%.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, because I think Chase, Jefferson, and maybe even Amon-Ra went above him. Actually, no, I think it was Bijan. I think the first 6, it was CD, Jettis, Chase, McCaffrey, Bijan, and then I guess Amon-Ra. Maybe Hill went 6. I think Hill went above Amon-Ra. I think it was Hill then Amon-Ra. Actually,
so I understand that. And so as we get to floating around, because that was before the calendar turned July. So that was at the end of June. So to me, I think as we get closer to August and September, a Bijan and a Breece might sneak up into the top 4. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Breece. That's who it was. That's why, Tyreek did go 7 because of Breece.
Yeah, 100%. So as mock drafts come in and the days go along, as we start getting closer to our home league drafts and all that, I think that some of these running backs are going to get pushed up, maybe over a Chase, like how you said about Jettis in the quarterback situation. But see, Chase is definitely going over Jettis because of the quarterback situation for sure, bro. But I think that some of these running backs are definitely going to sneak up into the top 5, and we're going to get a little bit more value on these wide receivers that you have listed, from 5 on down. Pause to be able to get a little bit more value at the back end of the first round on some of these wide receivers, because I only see 3 running backs in the first round. I don't think Jameer's a first round running back unless you get him in the 12.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I took Jameer in that mock. I took him 10th.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a back end first round pick.
100%. Right. Yeah. No, none of them are going Saquon. I mean, I like Saquon, but it's like in that offense, is he going to get the volume that he did with the Giants? We're not sure. And then with Jalen Hurts there taking goal line work, at JT, it's like, can he stay healthy? He's been hurt a lot the past 2 years. So yeah, I see your point. Yeah, it's those big 3 running backs, bro. CMC, Breece, and Bijan. So
yep. 100%.
Yep. Oh shoot, here we go. Let's get him on, y'all. The founder of the GWN, which is going to be launching very soon. He's one of the most lit. And Peacock. Oh, here we go. Let's get it rolling here. We'll first introduce our resident Texan. He's a graphic design beast as well as a fantasy football beast, y'all. Let's get him up in here. Miles Peacock.
Hey, what's up, gentlemen?
So Nico, bro, what are your thoughts on Nico in the top 12, Peacock? You think that's fair? I got Diggs at 20.
Yeah, I didn't even see that. That's awesome. In my opinion, that flows with, tracks consistently with what I believe. I was, if you guys know, I was on the Nico Collins hype train a little bit before his breakout. telling people, don't forget about him. CJ Stroud's there. He should be, prime good, good player, 6'4", big dude, a great production in college out of Michigan. Is just, the difference was going from Davis Mills to someone like CJ Stroud, who's a competent, ball thrower and can, throw guys open, put it on him. And then he's a great yak dude. So I love the rankings here for him, just cracking the wide receiver 1 territory. That he did get that contract extension. And then he can go all over the field. I do believe that he is the Texans wide receiver 1. So I do like the ranking. I think that Diggs is being a little overdrafted, overvalued where he's going. It's a little too rich for my blood, given his age, moving to a new team. I know Stroud's super hyped up and all that stuff right now, but I'm staying away from Diggs in most places where he's being drafted. I'm usually waiting to take the 3rd Texans wide receiver at value, because that's usually the only one you get typically. But I do like the finish here at number 12 for Nico. I think that he can definitely crack that territory going into his 2nd year with CJ Stroud. And let's not forget that Nico missed almost full 2 games with a calf injury last year as well. And then he was missing Stroud for another 2 games when Stroud was out with concussion. So, his numbers dipped a little bit. I know the addition of Diggs is going to probably take away from that a little bit, but I think it also opens it up. If you look last year, they used Nico, with a lot of big explosive plays. First play against the Colts in the season finale or semi-playoff game, he took it 75 yards to the house. So he's one of those guys who he can get open on all levels of the field. You can throw him a slant that he can break several tackles and house. He shows really good, like I said, for his size, great speed and tackle breaking ability. So I love him finishing as the Texans wide receiver 1 this upcoming season.
Well, that makes me feel a lot better about these rankings. Yeah, I'm going to have Diggs over Nico, but you're the resident Texans guy, so I'll take your word for that.
I agree with it. Like I said, it's the chemistry there. I know that. And that's why I like Tank Dell so much and him at value, because he's usually the last receiver off. I know he's coming off of an injury, but that happened midway through the season, so he's fully recovered. He looks really, really good. The connection that he has with CJ Stroud right out of the gate, they basically know where, they're like best friends. They're drafted together. They have that Cooper Kupp, Matt Stafford effect going on, where they have breakfast together, they hang out and all that stuff. So I like that connection as well. So to me, Diggs is kind of the odd man out. I know he's the savvy veteran, always hits 1,000 yards. I'm not too confident in him doing that this year. He might get close. And if we do get a squeaky wheel scenario, he'll get fed, but I don't think it's going to be, I don't think he'll be the number 1 to finish over Nico. Nico's younger, more spry. He already has that connection with Stroud. So I just see them building on that and Diggs kind of being the guy who's having to play a little bit of catch up, I believe, even though he's the polished veteran.
Right on, bro. Pass it on to JD here. AJ Brown, Puka Nacua. I know you've been a Cooper Kupp fan, JD, as far as you feel like he's going at a value, and I agree with that. But, Puka, bro, Puka's such a stud. I got AJ Brown slightly above him, though. What are your thoughts on those guys there, those, like, mid-tier WR1s?
Do you mind if I double back on a couple things what Peacock said, though?
Yeah. That's about
Nico, though. But Peacock said this one thing about them two going into their second year of chemistry, right? So my thing is with Nico, he had 109 targets on 80 receptions. It was highly efficient on 16.3 yards per target, per reception. So not only was it highly efficient, he getting the ball downfield 100%. And so even with a Diggs coming on this year, you bringing in a Mixon who's known for having PPR value, but for Nico to do what he did on so many few receptions and targets, and then on top of CJ Stroud not even throwing for 500 attempts, it was a 499 to be exact. With them invested into the offense, even though you bring in a few more weapons, Nico, he shows that he can do what he did on 109 targets and finish as a high-end wide receiver too. I want to say he finished as the 15th overall, or Pittman. I'm a little.
Oh, he good. Yeah, I get your point. He did really well.
Nico was there, so for even Stephon Diggs and for Mixon to come in right now, bro, I don't think that Nico his production drops off, and it shows that he can do a lot of damage on not 150 targets, 160 targets, kind of like what Ayuk did on something similar of the same production. 75 receptions, 1,300 yards, 8 TDs, same shit, 100%.
Yeah, hyper efficient yak guys, very similar. I like the comparison with Ayuk. I had them both in some redraft leagues last year, and I was, super confident with them on my roster, and I know that it kind of struck fear in my opponents sometimes when they're like, oh shoot, man, Nico Collins and Ayuk I'm facing this week. So, at any time those guys could, they get 7 targets, they catch 5 of those, they could still go for 100 and a touchdown. So they're those type of athletes that you like to have on your fantasy football team.
100%. And then jump out on the question that you said though, bro, about the 6 through 9 or the 6 through 10. Definitely you let off about how I feel about Cooper Kupp and Puka, but on this range of the draft, out of AJ Brown, Puka, Devontae, and Garrett, I'm going Garrett just based on the quarterback play was completely shitty. 168 targets. Nakua only had 10 more receptions than Garrett Wilson, 105 to 95. You know what I mean? So and Garrett doesn't have to worry about another top tier wide receiver on the opposite side of him, just like Nakua, just like AJ Brown, even though AJ Brown, he still balls out. But for my value right there, give me Garrett Wilson with the better quarterback play and the single-handed number one main guy over there in the receiving option out of all 4 of those. AJ
he gets more of the pie. I like that. Then we're assuming that Aaron Rodgers is going to be healthy and at least somewhat competent, or let's say he's 70% of whatever he was. That's still going to be way better than whatever kind of quarterback play the New York Jets were getting last season. So I do like that you highlighted that about Wilson. I haven't gotten a lot of shares of him in a lot of places, or really searched for it or sought him out, I guess. So. In that area, that's somebody I'll probably be looking at a little closer, next time.
No, for
next
sure.
time around.
For redraft right now, because we don't know what's going to happen in Dynasty for him going forward after this year, because we know Aaron Rodgers, he's different, you know what I mean? But for redraft purposes right now, Garrett Wilson at that later part of the draft of 10 through 12 and going into the second round between Devontae Adams, Nakua, maybe AJ Brown, because of the running backs, they gonna get pushed back. To me, my favorite is definitely Garrett Wilson, because boo-boo quarterback play that we seen last year, on top of him finishing with the same type of numbers as Nakua in a better situation, 100%. So if we get a healthy Aaron Rodgers or a 70%, kind of like what Peacock said, definitely. 100%. I just
more catchable targets, for an athlete like Garrett Wilson to make plays. It's you should see an uptick in whatever his fantasy finish was last year. Obviously,
facts.
Here we go, y'all. I think he's ready, y'all. I think he's ready. Bursting out of the Matrix, Bogard scot-free.
Yes.
Hell yeah. So let's get into the rest of these early receiver ranks, y'all. And Chris Olave, what are y'all thoughts on Olave? Do you think he's a WR1 this year? And with Kubiak, I'll let Bogey kick this thing off. How you feeling about Olave this year?
I like him a good deal. But whenever I view a player, I might wait for someone of value that I feel like I would like better, like a Nico. But I think Olave, the case to be made for him is he might be the only game in town, truly. I mean, it's a new regime with Clint Kubiak there, so we should expect that Niner-esque system, right? But even if it's not Niner-esque, it's just gonna be fantasy friendly. Anywhere Clint Kubiak is, he makes those guys into hitters, bro. I'm talking about the first year with Kevin O'Connell was Kubiak over there. You know what I mean? And Kirk Cousins, everybody, they all went, yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Jadis, bro. Yep.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Clint Kubiak with the Brock the last 2 years as the QB coach. You know what I mean? Maybe not the last 2 years, just the last year at least. You know what I mean? Where he had a 7% touchdown rate, which is awesome because he doubled that from the year before. I mean, not doubled it. He repeated it from the year before. And efficiency is arguably the hardest thing to replicate from year to year. You know, only guys like Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, even Joe Burrow in his young career. Only those guys like that where they make super hay without the craziest pass attempts. You know what I mean? Well, JD, how many? What did Brock do? Like 460 last year?
Who?
Brock Purdy.
Yeah, actually, I'm about to make a Brock Purdy T-shirt. It's like in the works.
Brock.
I'm gonna take advantage. I'm finally gonna take advantage of these sales.
Yeah, he threw 444 passes, then did 31 tugs on 444.
That's it.
Come on, that's
wow,
efficiency
that's super efficient.
And 4280 through the air.
And it's 60.4% completion percentage.
Yep. So when you do the math of his pass attempts to his touchdown receptions, 7%. You look at the games he started the year prior, 7%. He replicated it. Only this time he played the entirety of the season. That's pretty awesome. So this is the type of stuff that Clint Kubiak is going to bring to the table because, let's be honest, Derek Carr, we like him for fantasy because he's sloppy and he's a gunslinger. But if we can get some efficiency to him.
No, man, I fucking hate Derek Carr.
And one
I'm trying to make a case for
Derek Carr, though, is at the end of the last 4
games. He's working with Kubiak.
I love Olave. I love Olave. I just hate Derek Carr. How about that?
The last 4 games of the season, Carr went crazy, bro.
Yeah, he really did. He was starting to get comfortable with the Saints, and hopefully Kubiak's system will fit him well.
And Mike Thomas was, man, we don't need you no more, bro.
Yeah, he's out of there, bro.
Yeah, and then you got guys
appreciate you, bro.
That's why
guys like Rasheed Rice. Yeah, what is his name? Rashid Shaheed?
Shaheed. Yeah. He's
one of my guys this year, bro.
I drafted him in the nice guys.
It's crazy because he had the highest. He had one of the higher ADOTs last year. Right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's crazy.
You got to look at the route tree he ran. Pretty much exclusively the go route. They're gonna change that up this year. So I
drafted Shaheed in round 20.
Yeah,
that's
it's gonna
value.
open it up for Olave too, because now you're gonna have an actual other threat. So you can't just try to shut down Olave. He's technically, on paper, it looks like he's the only game in town. But you also got Kamara. You know what I'm saying? And I will say, when it comes to this year, all the receivers across the league are going to play against more zone coverage. This is just where it's going. So, and when it comes to Olave, kills zone. You know what I mean? He kills zone. You know what I mean?
Both of them, Olave and Rasheed.
And Shaheed.
He had 46 receptions on 75 targets, 719 yards on 15.6 yards per catch. He brings in return work too, bro. Rashid Shaheed, he's a nasty. And Olave did damage just like how you let it off with Nico. He had the same type of shit. 89 receptions on 39 targets with 1,100 and some yards, 100%. So he doing damage on not getting over that 150 target threshold, 100%.
Yeah,
and I'm sure those targets are worse too. They're not as great as CJ Stroud targets. You know what I mean?
We might get 600 pass attempts out of Derek Carr. I don't think he'll be as efficient as the Brock or anyone else under Kubiak. I think they're gonna have, because as a team, I think they're gonna know they need to run it up, and that's what Kubiak has been a part of everywhere he's at. So I think, and when it comes to the run game, Kamara's he's an extension of that. So they're gonna be throwing it to the running backs. They're gonna be I think he can get up to close to 600 pass attempts, maybe 575-ish.
I think more like 500. I don't think he gets.
You don't think he gets to 570? Didn't he do 550 last year?
I'll put him at 550.
Really have enough
but didn't he do 550 last year?
Let me see what he threw.
I might be wrong.
He did
548. Yeah.
Perfect.
See what I'm saying? I think he can get up to. Listen, I'm telling
you. How many did Taysom Hill throw? I'm just joking.
25 to 8.
Yeah, no, let's look that up.
Hold on, I can tell you.
Yeah, probably I'd say at least 10. I would think.
No, come on. I think he got dubbed.
10 to 30. Hold on. Let's see.
I think he got 10 to 30 sounds right.
Where do I
11.
look this up?
It was a lowly 11.
Come on. Well, we nailed it with 10 to 30.
If Carr throws as much as y'all are thinking, then I'm all in on Olave, bro. Because the other name that's kind of interesting here to me is Devontae Adams, because his QB situation, not the best, but Ginsu Minshew, I mean, he could be pretty good. And O'Connell, I still think Adams is a surefire WR1. What are y'all's thoughts, though? Do you think he's still eating?
Because they play with AOC and Garoppolo last year, bro, and he still continued to do damage.
QB proof, man.
That's what Cuzzo Kev say. QB proof. That's what he's been. He's done that in fucking Green Bay when Aaron Rodgers was out that one year.
That was the first year of Brett Hundley, and I think that was a career year.
And he
that
ate,
was a career
man.
year for him at the time. That was. I think he finally went over a thou wow, or did he get close to
He was like, I remember I had him in fantasy that year, and I was like, damn, that Devontae Adams, bro, he's a dog, because it was like, even without Rodgers, he's still eating. Yeah, that was the year he had, I think, 2017, he had it was either 16 or 17. He had in 16, he had 75 for 997 and 12. Then the next year, 74, 885, and
Marvin Harris out of Nico and Olave at that back end has the biggest upside out of all three of them, just based on his situation, bro. 100%.
I'm with you.
He needs to pull a Puka.
But he's gonna get drafted higher than them guys though.
Yeah, I mean, I got him ranked above those guys. So to me, the real question is in drafts. I had this phase: is it Marv Jr. or Devontae?
Marv.
I'll probably go Marv personally.
I go with
it's way more fun.
It is more fun.
But
I don't want to watch the Raiders.
Devontae's the value.
I went with Marv over Devontae, even though I had Devontae ranked over him. I was like, screw it, I'm going with Marv just to see how it's funny, because it's more fun. Devontae definitely safer.
We might be able to swing around and get Devontae after.
You could, right?
Nah.
Well, what if you're at the let's say if you're at the 12, you can take them both.
Watch when we get to training camp and Marvin Harrison just catches our ball. He might be in a single QB drafted in the 1-2 turnaround, bro.
I mean, I could see it.
Hype train. That's that hype train.
That hype train's about to come for Marv. The hype train's coming for Marv.
And then with Kyler coming off and being able to play 8 games last year and looking good as well. So Kyler coming in completely.
Is Trey McBride not tight end 2 or 3 because of what happened last year? Like people are.
He's being drafted pretty high.
Yeah, a lot of times he goes over Andrews. Usually he's tight end 3 behind Kelsey and Laporta.
I'm telling you, people are buying in, and they're probably not that far off because it should be a concentrated target market share between the two of them.
Right, yeah, Michael Wilson, he's nothing special, and then the running backs, I'll throw to here and there. But yeah, I think, but Marv and McBride will eat for sure. So,
the one thing I worry about Adams is like, they're talking about putting making Trey Tucker the slot guy.
Yeah,
he's a burner. Like if you're gonna keep Devontae out wide, I remember Aaron Rodgers last year when they would have Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays, and then he was real disgruntled because he was hurt, and you could tell when he was doing like overlooking film with them. And he said, look at this. It was the game against the Raiders game against Green Bay that Monday night. And he said, why wouldn't they put Tay in the slot? Like he said, it takes to the fourth quarter, then he moved him in the slot. And I felt like because after that comment was made, you started seeing the Raiders. It's almost like they, because obviously it was the blurb that went around, like Aaron Rodgers criticizing the way Devontae has been used, right? And then they started moving him around like you should. You're supposed to move him around, create mismatches, make when you move him around too, you see what the defense is doing. But my point is that if you're gonna get Trey Tucker in the slot and you add a Brock Bowers, it's 100% gonna take away from Devontae ultimately. So if we're not getting that 30% target market share, I'm going to need a bank on some type of efficiency here. Gardner Minshew, the Ginsu, slices and dices, but he's definitely not efficient. He's the guy that needs to pepper his targets. Look at Michael Pittman last year.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Michael Pittman had all the targets. You know what I mean? But so, and Aiden O'Connell, I mean, 4 starts last year, 2 out of the 4. Devontae Adams was good. So we got like a coin flip if we're going to look at and compare it to last year. So I think Devontae's in a fair spot here.
For sure. And speaking of Michael Pittman, he kicks off the next set, 13-24. And, man, he with Richardson, man, he was dangerous. So I got him ranked a little above consensus. Drake London's the one everyone's going yay for. I mean, I think London's could end up a WR1, but I'm a little skeptical because, I mean, Kirk Cousins coming off the Achilles and just this is first year with this Falcons offense. I mean, he'll definitely have a career year, but I don't know if he's going to have the kind of year everyone's thinking, like, as far as I've said this before, like I'm not comfortable taking him in the second round or even the third round makes me a little scared, but definitely not the second round. He went in the second round of our last mock on Monday. The second round, y'all. Drake London. If you want Drake London, you're going to have to pay a premium because y'all mentioned the hype train earlier. The Drake London hype train, it's took off and left the station. If you're not willing to hop on that thing now, you ain't getting on it because that thing is rolling.
I'm like, that's by brain. The 2.1 to 14, whatever it was, overall player in June ADP. No, he's never went over 75 receptions, never went over 1,000 yards. I don't care how shitty the quarterback play is because we seen shitty quarterback play in New York in the Jets. And we seen what
Wilson
still hit for 1,000. Yeah.
And then where he's going
we saw it with Michael Pittman too.
And then and where he's going at over Mike Evans, Brandon Ayuk, and Jalen Waddle. Even though Jalen Waddle missed some games last year, I'm definitely taking Mike Evans and Brandon Ayuk over Drake London for sure, bro.
So you just bypass them altogether.
Yeah, because lately he's been going above all those plus. He's been going above DJ Moore, Michael Pittman, and Nico Collins. I think ADP the consensus, he's now WR12 overall. He's a WR1.
No, you can't do that. Like I can't do that. I can't draft somebody.
Yeah, no. You're right, Peacock. They can't do that.
Yeah, that can't happen to you got to prove it to me first before I'm willing to spend a premium price on you. So that's somebody that's just not, it's not going to jive with me. But on that note, guys, I do got to dip and play this.
Hell yeah! Shout out to Peacock, man. Yeah, that was lit. So, but yeah, let's keep this show rolling. I talk about the train. The train's rolling, man. The freaking Malik Neighbors, y'all. I mean, Malik Neighbors. I know the offense isn't as good as Marv, obviously, as evidenced by him not being ranked as high. But Malik Neighbors, man. I mean, you talk about someone that stock really went through the roof in his college production. I mean, he was putting up record numbers in college. I know the offense sucks, but shit, man, if I can get him as a WR2 or for sure a WR3, I'm more than comfortable taking Neighbors because and also Dayball will be calling the plays again in New York. Yeah. I think that's a good
We've seen him produce WR1s with the with the likes of a Stephon Diggs before, even in his time in New England when we saw the things that he did with like a Julian Edelman. And I know people might think that don't mean much, but it means a lot because he knows how to get the best out of like his number one options.
Yeah, I don't know why he gave up play calling last year. That was absurd, So, but anyway, he's
you know what it was? He didn't want to win.
Was he was tanking last year?
I mean, get as high as you can, right? What did
they have definitely Cup over Rome, no doubt. Especially in the region.
No, for sure. My thing with Neighbors is that he's floating around at the early beginning of the third round, bro. And so you're drafting him on potential. And so in like I said, this is redraft season. This is where we need for sure points right now, even though he has that potential to go ahead and boom. And a lot of those people, the analysts and people that watch the draft and all that shit had him above Marvin Harrison in some of the rankings, 100%.
He's new Justin Jefferson.
Right. Yeah, he's cut from the same cloth, LSU, WRU.
Kind of built the same way too.
Exactly. It's just, man, if he'd have landed in a better spot, bro, if he'd have landed it with the Cardinals, bro, he'd be ranked up. And if Marv would have gone to the Giants, then he'd be down a little lower for sure. Landing spot is a big key to this deal. And I know the Giants aren't the best landing spot, obviously, but I think, with that being said, I think Neighbors is going to be the value guy, because everyone's going to be chasing Marv. He's going to go real high. Drake London, all these hype train guys. If Ayuk gets paid, then his hype's going to go through the roof. Neighbors, I think you're going to be able to get him probably in like the fourth, fifth round in some cases. And, if he pushed up into the third, it'd probably be a little too rich for my blood. But to me, the fourth's a good sweet spot for this dude because I think even with Danny Dumbass, I think he's going to catch at least 80, maybe 90 passes. And
on best ball, on underdog pay leagues right now, he's going as a 3.2 right now.
That makes sense because a lot of those are single QB. So, what I mean?
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Oh, damn. 3.2. Man, that's a little too high, bro. Yeah. Even his hype train's going through the roof.
No, I think that's sensible though, because that's we should expect that. And I think like Marvin Harrison, where does he go? JD, like late second,
early second.
Yeah, he's going early second.
Okay, see, that makes sense. That makes sense though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was just saying he might get on the 1-2 turnaround on the one side even once we get the training camp going. Look at Neighbors. Neighbors going to jump up. They got the hard knocks on them. Watch this. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
exactly. Yeah, it's like with the Jets last year because of Hard Knocks. Everyone was jerking off the Jets. Pause.
It happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like Calvin Ridley last year. I mean, at least Calvin Ridley hit for a foul while and had a lot of tugs. I mean, he didn't.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, look. Trevor Lawrence, he is the tall.
Yes, he is.
When he throws that bitch, he kind of sails it. Like, what do they say? They say that you're throwing tall.
Yeah.
You're not sailing it so much, but when you're throwing at a Calvin Ridley, how many times did you see him like almost catch a touchdown last year? Calvin Ridley, correct me if I'm wrong, JD, you might got this in your notes. Is Calvin Ridley, did he not lead the receivers in red zone targets last year?
Now give me 2 seconds. I can pull it up.
Yeah, check that out.
Bro, like, I think Brian Thomas could end up being
but that's what I'm saying is like, even the Gabe Davis is low key because these are big, tall receivers. You know what I mean? Like them throwing passes right out the outstretched arms or hitting the hands. Like I feel like, you know what I mean? That like I know I'm kind of jumping ahead, but I'm just saying like, you know what I mean? Guys like you want the
and he still got paid.
Target guys. And I can't remember what receiver we were just talking about. Who were we talking about?
Calvin Ridley.
Calvin Ridley. Yeah, like I mean, he was, you know, he had it built up for him correctly. It just didn't transpire like we.
Yeah,
like
Calvin Ridley was third in red zone targets with 25, and he caught 10
was
of.
Still up. I knew he was up there.
Oh my!
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. So, any more thoughts before we flip the page?
Diggs. I mean, one of my things is with Diggs is
where is he at? 15?
20.
20 is.
Yeah, I think he should be at 15.
Oh, all right. Y'all like Diggs. Me and Peacock were lower on him than the consensus. Because Peacock seemed to think Tank Dell's gonna.
Well, because one thing he struggled. One thing CJ Stroud struggled with was passes over the middle, and I think it's because personnel wise, he only really had the tight ends going over the middle. Because he had Tank Dell and Nico, even Noah Brown. They were stretching the field. So, and Diggs is gonna live in the middle of the field. So I think like when it comes to the red zone too, he might be a guy that vultures a lot of touchdowns down there. You know what I mean?
My guy is Dalton. My guy is Dalton in the red zone in that offense. But I feel what you're saying, though, bro. 100%.
Yeah, because he's looking over the middle. You know
and then my thing is that what CJ Stroud did was compared to what Mahomes did was, and it being his rookie years, is that now they know that he could take on whatever they throw at him in this offense. Now you bring in a Mixon and Stephon Diggs, bro. Now you're going to go over 499 attempts, 498, whatever it was. You're going to get a 550. You might get close to 600. And for that offense, Stephon, we seen what Nico did. We seen what Tank did. They were supporting a whole lot of weapons over there in fantasy, 100%. So, yeah, I don't think that it's going to drop.
With efficiency, I might add.
No, 100%, bro, on everything. I think that the Houston offense in a general is players that you should be targeting coming into this redraft season. 100%.
Bro, I'm hella mad in round 40. Peacock just picked up John Mechie, bro. I'm kind of mad about that.
Yeah, he said that when we first jumped up in there too.
For sure. Right. Yep. All right. So yeah, we'll take note of that. Yeah, a little higher on Diggs than me, but I mean it's all good. Not gonna agree on everything.